So 2022 has been a pretty productive year for me. If any of you are coming from my Instagram, you'll know that I'm currently working on 2 webcomics. Infinite Circles of Purgatory, a weekly release, and Westward Sun, a 16-part monthly release. I've been working on the latter since 2020, and the former since July 6th. So I'd like to organize everything I've learned into a list and tell you all about it now. The first thing I learned, and it's a pretty obvious one, is working 2 issues ahead. I'm a plotter, and if you're not familiar with the terms plotter and pantser, I'll go over them briefly. Plotter, well, plots out the story they want to tell, and pantsers write out the story as they go along. So a lot of you may not know this, but I used to post comics on Webtoons since 2018. I'll give you extra credit if you could find my abandoned Webtoons account. A lot of them are deleted for obvious reasons, but a thing that these comics have in common was that I just stopped them abruptly. The core reason for that is the fact that I was a plotter, yet I published stories like a pantser. There was no structure in my work. I'd work issue by issue with a vague outline of what I wanted in my head. I would start off by writing a script of the first issue, drawing it out, coloring, lettering, and then I'd submit it, before I do the same thing with the following issue. Now, if you think this sounds unsustainable, well, you're right. The first time I created Westward Sun, I stopped at issue 1 and could barely finish issue 2. So in order to not cop out at the last second, I just wrote a series bible, wrote a script, did a few drafts, thumbnailed the entire series, did a rough outline of each issue, and now I don't want to quit. I'm the type of person who needs a clear idea of what I'm doing, so if you're like that, think 2 issues ahead. Second thing I've learned is to draw for the scroll. Webtoons are formatted like scrolls. You move vertically across the comic, and in my earlier work, I never took that into consideration. I drew my webcomics like I was drawing for a book, which I think messed up my experience a bit. If you have too many panels cluttered together, it could seem pretty overwhelming and congesting. So what I've done is spread out my panels, and I think that really helped out with the pacing of my story. Like, you could add gaps within each panel to build tension, or use locations of a panel to set up dialogue or scenes between 2 characters, or kind of build suspense with one scene to another. Also, another really important thing is dimensions. All webcomic hosting sites have limits for what size you should make your story. I learned this the hard way. They used to have specific widths and heights, but now it's just widths. And sometimes when I import a story to Webtoon, the comic was always blurry because I didn't have the right size. It was kind of hard to figure out, but a solution I found was painting in 300 dots per inch, or DPI. Some people size their documents in the exact same way as the required dimensions, but what I do is make a page double that requirement size before I export my comic as a PNG, then shrink it into the required size. So for example, the required width of your comic in Tapas is 940, so when I make my documents to draw, I make 1880. Perhaps there's a better way of doing this that I haven't found out, but aside from the technical issues I've had, this has worked out fine for me. Speaking of finding a better way, the final thing I've learned is forums are your friend. If you need information, help, experience whatsoever, forums are highly beneficial. I've gotten so much from using forums, especially the Tapas forums. I found it to be a great way to promote and find other people's work. You can learn about the culture of your platform by looking at the forums and seeing what other people are writing and drawing. And in the world of webcomics or any industry in general, connections are key. Your connections can make or break your career. Engage with the forums too. Just don't passively observe, because you're not going to get anything out of just lurking the forums. Trust me, it's pretty difficult to talk to people. It's even more difficult to get criticism from people you don't know. But always be willing to do those things, and you'll get pretty far in life. So yeah, that's about it. If you watched up to this point, thank you. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this video. If you like this video, like and comment. If you dislike the video, dislike and comment. Just because no one can see the dislikes doesn't mean I can't. And I feel like making more commentary videos in the future, so tell me if I did a good job or not. Maybe I can make another video. So yeah, see you next time.